Cousteau is a French aquatic filmmaker and oceanographic explorer, and he's also the grandson of renowned oceanographer Jacques Cousteau, and now he's joining us in Studio 1A. We're lucky to have him here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
So first of all, you've been around the world. What brings you to Western Massachusetts?
Well, didn't you hear? This is one of the best places to go diving.
Exactly, yeah, all the reefs in Western Massachusetts.
And there happens to be a great school right here in Western Massachusetts.
And you were speaking at Wilbraham Munson about all things oceanographic.
Yep, Wilbraham Munson is one of the global leaders in being able to provide a platform to talk about the environment and to talk about oceans this year because we're talking about water issues.
Speaking of water issues, you dismissed a myth for us earlier because, you know, in school we learn that it's 70% of the world is ocean,
yeah.
But it's actually not true. There's more life in the ocean than we think.
Well, first of all, I'd like to dispel the 73% for all those educators out there because you're looking at a map. Let's go into the 21st century and think of it three-dimensionally.
Exactly.
Living space-wise, the oceans are 99% of our world's living space, within which 95% of our biodiversity thrives.
And it's because for thousands and thousands of feet, there are thousands of feet worth of animals, fish, mammals, everything.
We hope, but we've explored less than 5% of our oceans since the beginning of ocean exploration.
And that's why we need to explore more and more, and that's why it's important that people like you are talking to people like us out here.
Absolutely. Well, you're a master diver.
Yes,
and
yeah.
beyond.
Over 200 dives I've done, but that's probably not as many as you.
I don't keep a logbook. I've been diving since my 4th birthday.
What got you into diving? Was it your grandfather?
It was not.
Really?
It was not. He took me diving soon after, but they found me at the bottom of the pool buddy breathing on my 4th birthday.
And for those of us out there who don't know, buddy breathing is?
Buddy breathing is sharing air, an air source underwater. It's one of those more advanced techniques that you learn as you learn to scuba dive. It's not your first lesson. It just happens to be that one of our friends was reading a newspaper underwater, and I jumped in and started really enjoying myself down there, and I wanted to stay.
There are some people out there who maybe don't enjoy ocean exploration or don't see what all the fuss is about. Why is it so imperative that we literally and figuratively get to the bottom of our oceans?
Well, it's very simple. The oceans and water on this planet represent all the circulatory system of all life that we depend on. And that circulatory system is a reflection of our very own, in the sense that you cannot have healthy people if you don't have a healthy oceans. And right now the oceans are in peril for many reasons.
And you were saying even if people don't eat fish, they eat fish in a sense.
That's correct. You could be a vegetarian, you're still eating fish. Because if you like grains in your cereal in the morning and your breads, if you like ice cream in your freezer, all those are derived from fish or sea life-based resources.
Because at the end of the day, it all comes from water.
That's correct.
Now, you're helping to give back to, there's the Plant a Fish program, which I love. Tell us about it.
Well, it was driving me crazy, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, people understand what planting trees means. Why aren't we planting fish? Or more specifically, why aren't we taking care of our oceans like we do land? And so with that, it's a grassroots restoration and education platform to engage communities around the world to doing some aquatic restoration.
And people can donate money, they can give their time, but let's tell everybody out there, you know, if maybe you're a little too tentative to take the plunge and scuba dive, what are some ways that we can really illuminate the ocean for our children and for adults for that matter too?
Well, there are a lot of ways we can get involved whether we like diving or not. And two or three very simple ways. Let's think of this as a natural resource bank account. Let's use a seafood guide when we go into a restaurant or into a supermarket to guide us to make better choices so that that natural resource bank account doesn't get any more depleted than it already is. When you start throwing things away on land, they all end up in the oceans. We've heard of a North Pacific garbage patch. There's a lot of plastics out there. Let's try and eliminate that by saying, let's refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle.
I like that, the fourth R. Now, you come from a long line of oceanographic explorers. Do you have any memories, you know, like you and the family, because I would assume family gatherings are very aquatic themed, but do you have any great memories of you and your family as a youngster?
Sure, I've got a lot of really interesting memories.
Any that you can share on the air? We're a morning show.
Well, okay, so we'll keep it PG.
Okay, good.
Working with family is never easy. And I was never thrown into the quote-unquote family business. But I've now, looking back on it as an adult, I remember fondly scrubbing the barnacles off the hull of the Calypso, being at the graveyard shift at the helm, all those things that back then I resented because I thought I was getting picked on. Looking back on it now, those were fabulous times with just an amazing educational experience.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on our show today. The tremendous thing is, you're absolutely right. The ocean is paramount to our success as a planet, and it's imperative that we treat it right. So I thank you for helping to propagate that message to everyone out here.
Thank you.
So you can all help save our oceans and learn more about this man right here. Visit plantafish.org.